So how clear is it then, Paul, that the leadership is going to struggle to defend 5.5% headline growth rates? And what then will the message be from Xi Jinping later on this year at the CCP Congress?
Well, I think in terms of growth and getting to 5.5%, nobody really knows. Things don't add up. Now, maybe that's often the case in China. But I think from a market perspective, when people look at things like commodity demand coming out of China, I think it's very unlikely that growth this year is going to feel like a 5.5% growth, whatever the GDP numbers say at the end of the year. And secondly, from kind of strategic perspective and the way the politicians will talk about what's been happening in China and the way they're navigating policies here. I mean, it's clear the government's doing two things. That one, there's a wholehearted effort to try to boost infrastructure investment, with the idea seeming to be that it doesn't matter how weak the rest of the economy is, as long as infrastructure is growing, that's going to pull the rest of the economy along. The second thing is sort of related to both historically the way that China tends to manage the economy, but also Li Keqiang's particular kind of tint on these things, is there's a huge amount of support for companies. Now, in theory, that support for companies is very, quite bullish, actually, for the future and for productivity growth and so on. The problem is, in the short term, those companies need a reason to go out and spend, right? They've been giving tax cuts. The business environment is improving. Red tape has been cut. These are all things, I think, that most economists would say are quite welcome. But if they're not willing to go and spend on capex right now or to hire workers, the cyclical impact on the economy is not going to be very great. And I think that's the kind of this fundamental issue that China faces. There could well be more infrastructure spending in the second half of the year. But it's very difficult to get excited about a strong growth story when the only game in town is really infrastructure. There has to be more things that boost corporate demand and also household demand.